Hey there, Otto from DigitalOcean here, and today I want to talk to you about Heroku. Heroku has been an instrumental platform for many developers, including myself, because it allowed us to not have to worry about DevOps and just focus on writing code. Last week, Heroku announced that it was phasing out its free plan this coming November and will start shutting down free dynos and data services. Paid dynos will start at $7 a month and scale from there. Now, if you're like many developers I've spoken to over the last week, you may be looking for alternatives. And today I want to show you how you can migrate your Heroku applications to DigitalOcean's app platform. DigitalOcean's app platform is a fully managed infrastructure as a service platform built around simplicity and focused on making it as easy as possible for you to build, deploy, and scale your apps quickly. Some of the key features of App Platform are that it has out-of-the-box support for many popular languages and frameworks like Django, Hugo, Node.js, and many others. App Platform supports automatic code deploys on commits so you can focus on writing the code and we'll handle the rest. And finally, App Platform integrates seamlessly into the entire DigitalOcean ecosystem, so adding features like databases, serverless functions, and others can be done with just a few clicks. DigitalOcean's app platform pricing starts at free for static websites and serverless functions and can be as low as $5 a month for basic deployments, which are perfect for hobbyist projects and proofs of concept. Now let's jump in and see how we can deploy and migrate our existing Heroku apps to DigitalOcean's app platform. To get started with App Platform, we'll need to log into our DigitalOcean console. Now, if you don't already have an account, you can sign up for free and get a $100 credit that will allow you to try App Platform or any of the other services offered by DigitalOcean. Since I already have an account, I'm just going to log in, and once authenticated, I'll be ready to create my first App Platform application. To do that, I'll navigate to the App section in the console by clicking the apps in the left-hand side, and since this is a brand new project I started, I don't have any applications, so let's go ahead and create one. Also going to zoom in a little bit so it's easier to see. So clicking the Create App button will take us to the wizard to create our first App Platform application. From here, the first thing we'll need to do is choose the provider where our source code lives. And you can connect GitHub, GitLab, Docker Hub, or DigitalOcean's own container registry. And additionally, if you don't already have an application but want to try out App Platform, you can choose one of the many different sample apps provided. So if we select one of the sample apps, you'll see we have options from Node.js, React, Ruby on Rails, and many others. But since I already have an application that I want to migrate from Heroku to DigitalOcean's App Platform, I'll select GitHub as my service provider, and I'll connect the repository. And that repository is called blog, so I am migrating my Hugo blog from Heroku to DigitalOcean. Now, since my blog is just a personal website built with Hugo and it is a static application, I can just deploy the public pages that Hugo generates. And those live in the public directory, so I'm going to update the source directory here to public. And then I'm going to hit the next button. From here, App Platform figured out that we are going to be hosting a static site. We don't have any environment variables either, so we can just hit next. And here we see app info, so our application is going to be called Dolphin App in our first project here in this DigitalOcean account. And again, we can edit all of this if we wanted to, so we can say Otto's personal blog. Save it, and we'll be good to go. We'll hit next. It's going to give us a overview of what is going to be deployed, from where, and how it's all going to work. And if we look at the review here, we're seeing that we're going to be deploying a static site in a App Platform app called Otto's personal blog. We don't have any environment variables. We're going to be hosting this application in DigitalOcean's New York data center, but we'll be deploying it on the global CDN with an automatic SSL certificate. If we look at the cost, it's free. This is because we are able to deploy free static websites on App Platform. Finally, we'll hit the Create Resource button, and this is going to pull in our code from our GitHub repo, and it's going to build it and deploy it, and we'll be able to see the result of that in just a couple of seconds. Once the build is complete, we'll be provided with a live URL where our application is hosted. Let's click it and make sure that our static blog deployed successfully. So I'll click on the URL, and this does look like my personal website. All of the blog posts that are there, I can click into any of the pages, and everything seems to work just fine. So our application was successfully deployed to DigitalOcean's app platform, and we have this URL of Otto's personal blog.ondigitalocean.app. But we can additionally add our own domain by navigating into the app platform, app settings, and hitting the add domain button, and then adding our domain. We're not going to go into that here because I want to show you some of the other features of the app platform. And one of those features is serverless functions. Now, serverless functions is something that DigitalOcean added to its platform a couple months ago, and it integrates really, really well into the app platform. To create a new component in Otto's personal blog here that contains a serverless function, we'll hit the create button and create a resource from source code. Now from here, we can follow the same pattern of connecting a GitHub repo or a GitLab repo, but for this example, I'm going to use a sample app. So I'm gonna select, choose sample app, and the sample app that I want to deploy is a Python jokes function, which is going to show us some funny jokes. So I have the jokes sample function selected. I'll hit next. We'll be adding this additional functionality, this additional component to Otto's personal blog. So we'll hit next. Again, we don't have any environment variables. We'll hit next. And since this is a serverless function, its pricing is based on usage, but it starts off as free. So all we're doing here is adding an additional repository to our app platform application, and we're bringing in the sample functions Python jokes function. So I'll hit create resource. And again, this is going to take a couple of seconds to build and deploy. And once it does, we'll be able to access our serverless function. To double check and make sure that our sample function has deployed successfully, let's click into that particular component, sample functions Python jokes. And now we can see that we have a new function called joke/joke. And if we open up this URL, it's going to execute that serverless Python function, which is going to give us a random joke. In this case, the joke is how many programmers does it take to change a light bulb? None. They just make darkness a standard. And if we refresh, we'll get different jokes. So far, we've seen how to deploy static applications and how to deploy serverless functions on App Platform. Next, I want to show you how you can attach a database to your App Platform application. When it comes to working with databases within the App Platform, you have two options. The first option is to deploy a development database to your App Platform application, and this is a great option if you are just building a proof of concept or you're building a hobby project and you just need a quick and easy database to work with. And to show you how you can do this, you simply hit the create button and then create or attach database. And from here, it will tell you that you are creating a Postgres version 12 database. It's going to have 512 megabytes of RAM and a gigabyte of disk space. And this really isn't a production ready database, but it's great to test things out and have that development environment ready to go. So let's just go ahead and attach this to our App Platform application. I'll hit create and attach, and this is going to take just a couple of seconds to build and deploy our database that we can use within this Otto's Personal Blog App Platform application. Once our database component has finished deploying, we'll also be able to see it in our components list now. We can click the database to see its settings, and we can make adjustments here as well. So if we wanted to upgrade to a managed database from this hobby level $7 a month, we can hit upgrade to a managed database and choose the database size that works for our application. Now, the second way that you can work with databases within the app platform is to deploy a DigitalOcean managed database. And you can see our managed database options by navigating to the databases section in the UI. And DigitalOcean supports MongoDB, Postgres, MySQL, and Redis as supported database engines. So you can deploy any of these and attach them to your DigitalOcean app platform application after the fact. But we'll omit that in this video. Now let's go back to our application and show you how you can deploy dynamic applications to DigitalOcean's app platform. Navigate back to apps, and this time we'll create a new application to deploy our dynamic Node.js application. So I'll hit the Create App button, and that's going to show us the familiar Create Resource from Source Code wizard. And for our application here, we're going to stick to GitHub as our service provider, and the repository that we want to deploy from is called May the 4th. And this is an application that I built a couple of months ago for the Star Wars Day celebration. And we're going to deploy this Node.js application on the app platform. So this application is a Node.js application, and it lives at the root of our directory, so we don't have to add a source directory. We'll hit next. Here we can see that we are now adding a web service instead of a static application. And if we hit this edit button, we can learn a little bit more about what that means. So App Platform was able to figure out that we are building a Node.js application. So as part of the build phase, when it deploys this container, it's going to use the Node.js build pack. It's going to activate the run command once the build is successful and everything is deployed. And all of this is done for us. We don't have to make any changes unless we wanted to go in and make some edits if we had a custom configuration or a custom process that we needed to implement. But this application does not. So we'll hit back. If we edit our plan, here we can choose a pro if we're going to production, or a basic application if we are just getting started on the app platform and we just want to build a proof of concept or build a hobbyist app. And I will keep it simple and select the $5 a month basic plan. Hit back and click next. Now our May the 4th app does require an environment variable to be set, and that environment variable is the MongoDB database URI connection string, because this application does actually talk to a database. So we're going to add the environment variable. It's called MongoDB URI, and we are using a managed MongoDB database hosted on DigitalOcean, and I will just provide the URL here. We'll hit save, click next, and again we see the info that our application is going to be deployed in the New York data center, and we could change that if we wanted to. We'll hit edit, and let's say we wanted it in San Francisco. We'll hit next. Oh, I didn't save that, so let's go back to info, San Francisco, hit save, click next, review all of our changes, and click the Create Resources button. And just like with a static application, we're going to have to go through the build process, which is going to take a couple of minutes. So let's let the application build, and we'll come back when it's ready. And once our application has finished building, we'll get a URL to be able to access it. So up here, I can click on this whale app, and it's going to load our application. The default homepage of our app just returns a JSON response that has all of the Star Wars characters. But if we go to the battle route, we get a UI where we can vote between two Star Wars characters and pick our favorite one. So here, let's pick Rey. We get some nice animations, and then we get 2 additional characters. And that's pretty much all the app does. But that's not the important part here. The important part is how we deploy this application, and that was using DigitalOcean's app platform. And we can see the component here, May the 4th. It's a web service. We are pulling it from this particular GitHub repo, and we have auto deploy on. So if we were to make any changes to our application, as soon as we push the change to our GitHub repo. App Platform will pull that change in and redeploy the application. And if it fails for any reason, it's going to roll back to the last version that did work. So that's the App Platform in a nutshell. And I think that about does it for this particular video. We took a look at how you could migrate your existing Heroku apps to App Platform. I showed you how you can deploy different components like apps, serverless functions, and databases, but that's just scratching the surface. DigitalOcean provides an entire ecosystem. So if you need more control of the underlying hardware, you might look at Droplets. Or if you need to massively scale your applications, DigitalOcean Kubernetes is a great option. Whether you need the simplicity of the App Platform or a ready-made environment from our marketplace, DigitalOcean has got your back. Thank you, and I will see you next time.